G'day guys, Warriors of Chaos Tactics video number 2. Today we'll be looking at the Hammer and Anvil strategy, a strategy that is quite often used with Warriors of Chaos lists. It's certainly one that I like to employ, and it has served me very well on many a battlefield. What we're going to do today is just give you a bit of an example of how it works, and a little overhead as all these tactic videos will do. Okay, so let's have a look at initial deployment. Basically up here what we've got is just a very generic army list up the top for your standardized stuff, heavy cavalry on the flank, fast cavalry on the other flank, 2 units of ranged infantry, whether they be gunners or crossbowmen, whatever, you know. 2 blocks of infantry, standard infantry, and in the middle your cream unit, you know, for dark elves, a big blackguard unit, or this has been a big unit of temple guard, you know, all that good stuff. Okay, now regarding the chaos initial deployment, there's just one thing that I wanted to go through, is that note that Chaos Knight says Uber here. This unit here is the one that is going to feature your exalted hero with your battle standing banner. You know, it's going to be the unit that is just able to, in the words of Alessio himself, stare death in the face, spray paint his skull pink, all that good stuff. Alright, so that's basically what you want to have within this sort of list. Okay. Oh, and for those of you who are not familiar with the Hammer and Anvil idea, it's basically, here is your anvil, your main slower blocks, and here is your hammer, your faster moving blocks. Basically the idea is to get these guys, your faster moving blocks, to come up through here and have your anvil, so to speak, sitting in the middle against their main little main block of troops. Alright, so first movement. Basically this is what you got here. You got your Chaos Knights moving up. Make sure that when you move them up against something like heavy cavalry, that you're moving them up sufficient enough that you'll be able to get a charge off next turn, but they won't be able to get one off on you. Chaos Knights have moved up here, Warhounds have moved up. Warhounds here have moved up to screen both the Marauders and the rest of the Warriors, so to screen them from any ranged infantry, and it'll also play a bit of a role, as you'll see later on. Fast Cavalry here are attempting to redirect the Chaos Knights, as we've already covered in a previous video, and we'll see how we'll go about dealing with that in a minute. Okay, here we've got the Chaos Uber Knights charging into the Heavy Cavalry. First thing that I want you to know, the fact is that Chaos Knights are brilliant. We all know that. I don't really think that needs to be going into any more depth. If you've got your Exalted in there, it really should be tearing up just about anything it faces in close combat, with probably the exception of a really big beefed up unit of Blood Knights or a ridiculous Death Star. This Uber Knight really should be able to crush through just about any heavy cavalry without too much problem. Particularly with the static combat resolution of having that banner there, and all that good stuff, you should be just about fine. Over here on this flank, what I want you to see is that if they're trying to redirect you in this kind of situation, don't be too worried about it. As you'll see, it almost kind of works to your favor. So basically, charge them, whether or not they flee, or whether or not you catch them and you run over on them, which you should be doing with your Chaos Knights. You're probably going to end up somewhere over here, which is not necessarily a bad thing for our purposes. Okay, now as you can see, the Warhounds here are screening the infantry from being able to pop off a charge. Granted, at this stage they're probably not in charge range. Obviously this entire model isn't to scale, this is just to give you a bit of an idea. So that the Chaos Knights have completely overrun and wiped out that unit that was over here, and have overran up in this direction. The Chaos Knights B have also charged, and whether or not that fast cavalry unit, they overran them, or that fast cavalry ran off the board, it's not important. The fact is that they're both ending up in this sort of a general area in the top end corners. Now the Warhounds here are, as you can see, the Warriors are right packed up, and so are the Marauders, so that they're right behind those Warhounds right there, almost within the 8 inches that, you know, of the cream unit and the infantry A and B. Okay. Now, this is where they've obviously ended up. The Chaos Knights have ended up over here and here, up in the top corner. What you want to do is you want to turn them around so that they're facing in this general direction. Now make sure there's something that you should really notice, that I included these ranged infantry for a good reason, is that sometimes these ranged infantry units will be up here on these sort of corners. There's one thing that you want to be really careful about, that is that it has happened to me before. It doesn't often, but it does in a player's desperation. You will find your Chaos Knights rear charged by ranged infantry. Now this might not seem like a big deal or anything like that, but I'm not gonna lie, it can stuff up your plan. Okay, at this point, your opposing player is probably seeing what you're about to do and is going, oh crap, oh crap. There's not really a whole lot that they can do at this point, because being infantry, they can't really move too far. So for our purposes, we're going to say that they've wheeled to face the Knights of Chaos challenge, so to speak. Right, what you want to do is this. Charge in with your Knights against Infantry A, charge in against Infantry B. Basically what you want to do is kind of sandwich these units in together. And these Warhounds, which had prevented these guys from charging in here, which is definitely a good thing for our purposes, will pin this unit. Even if it's only for a turn, it might do absolutely nothing. As you will see, there's a purpose to it. Now, the Warhounds have obviously come up here against the cream unit. If it is a decent cream unit, these Warhounds are probably going to get turned into puree, or something to that effect. Now, the Marauders and Warriors are going to move up tight again, really up close. They're not going to be charging in or anything, just getting really up close. These Warhounds will probably be defeated. Okay, now with your Chaos Knights, they should be charging in and they should be breaking those infantry units. Now, what will happen is when they flee, they'll flee through their friendly units and run into... when they flee, they have to flee directly away from the chargers, which is, we'll say for instance, this unit here, we'll just go back one. We'll say that this Infantry B went and was fleeing away from Chaos Knights B. Now, when they flee, the distance that they flee is not... If they touch a friendly unit, they immediately pop out on the other end. And it doesn't count towards the distance fleet or anything like that. So really they should be popping out all the way over here against the Chaos Knights Uber. Now, if they touch an enemy unit, it means that they're instantly disapparated. They're gone. They've been sucked up and taken out. It's the same principle with the Infantry A. They should be fleeing. Infantry B and Infantry A will probably be fleeing into each other's Chaos Knights and will definitely be wiping them out. Okay, back to here. Now, this is interesting. You have to think about it. It might be tempting to have both your Chaos Knights running straight into the flanks of the cream unit, have Warriors charging up the front, and that would probably be devastating, but that would not be the maximum effect because there's something that your opponent could do, which is flee. So what you want to do is have your Chaos Knights Uber running into the flank, and that will just be devastating anyway. Your Warriors here should be coming in on the front. Your Warriors B should be coming in to your other flank to really maximize that. And now this might seem a little bit left field to your opponent. So what you'll do with these Chaos Knights is charge the ranged infantry here, to which more than likely they will choose to flee. If not, you're probably still going to end up there anyway. Now with that same principle here, over here, these Chaos Knights and Warriors should be mopping up this cream unit. I don't care how tough a unit is, they will be feeling the hurt right there. And even if the unit decides to flee, they're going to be fleeing into the Chaos Knights, which means that they'll disapparate anyway. So really, it's a win-win situation, and this is ideally the kind of situation that you want to run into. So that's basically what the Hammer and Anvil strategy is. Hopefully that will assist you in some games to come, and hopefully you'll be able to employ something like this. This is a bit of a rough idea of what it is that you want to do, but it gives you the sort of outcome. Basically, the main principle is that you want to have your main infantry moving up into the center, holding your opponent's units in the center, while your big beefy cavalry comes sweeping over, breaking through on the sides, and then coming through for rear charges and flank charges and just causing general devastation from behind. Now, that should just about wrap it up. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ghost.